Aren't you may call your next witness?
State calls Jason Shoudel.
I did. I didn't know how you had the other one in there labeled.
You raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear from the testimony you're about to give before the court in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Put your hand down. If you'll tell us your name, please, sir.
Sure, it's Jason Shoudel.
Just spell your first and last name for the court, please.
Sure, it's Jason. Last name is Shoudel.
And how are you employed, Mr. Shoudel?
Currently, I'm employed as a special agent with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, assigned to the office in Perry, Georgia.
Now, prior to being employed with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, were you in law enforcement prior to being with the GBI?
I was a deputy sheriff with the Thomas County Sheriff's Office from 1999, just after July 1999, until August of 2007. In August of 2007, or beginning of September 2007, I left the Sheriff's Office and got hired on with the GBI. I've been with them and in the same office ever since.
Now, with regard to this case involving Tara Grinstead, were you the case agent with regard to Ms. Grinstead back in June of 2016?
I was.
Now, with regard to this case involving Ms. Grinstead, are you familiar with a person by the name of John McCulloch?
I am.
And did you have contact with Mr. McCulloch back on June the 14th of 2016?
I did.
All right. And how was it that you came in contact with Mr. McCulloch?
Sure. One of the he must have called our office. I wasn't at the office at the time. I think I was coming back. But one of the other agents, his name is Logan Holland. He sent me a message or called me and said that a guy named John McCulloch had called our office and had some information that he wanted to provide, and gave me a telephone number. So when I got back to the office that day, I called him on the telephone.
Now, did you have a telephone conversation with him?
I did.
Was that conversation recorded?
It was not.
Why was that conversation not recorded?
Once again, I'm just calling him. I didn't know exactly what information he had at the time, so he's providing me with this information. We didn't know if it was credible information or not. I didn't actually have a recorder with me when I called him either. So, but I documented the interview as best I could over the telephone in an investigative summary.
When you say you documented the interview in an investigative summary, what do you mean when you say you documented it?
What we'll do is we'll take notes as we're talking to somebody, and then we will generate a investigative summary that lays out, it's basically a synopsis of what we talked about during that particular conversation. That goes into the case file, is made part of the case file, and that's it.
So with regard to that June the 14th, 2016 telephone interview you did with John McCulloch, you did document that and make a summary of what your investigation was, or
what we discussed, yes, sir.
What you discussed on the telephone.
Yes, sir.
And that was part of the GBI case file in this case, is that right?
Yes, sir, it is.
Now, after you spoke with John McCulloch on June the 14th of 2016, what did you do as a result of that conversation with Mr. McCulloch?
The person that he indicated in the conversation I had that had some information or had provided him information about the case was Bo Dukes. So on the 15th, I attempted, the rest of the 14th and then the 15th, I attempted to find Bo and try to make contact with him and try to set up an interview with him, which I did set up for June the 16th, the morning of June the 16th at the Rochelle Police Department.
And why was it that you chose to meet him at the Rochelle Police Department?
At the time, he said he was working, and that was the only place that he felt like he could have a conversation. He was said he was working at the time, so the only time he could meet would be early that morning. I knew that he'd lived around the Rochelle area, so for me it was easier to go to Rochelle, closer to where he was, and make him have to come up to where I was. So it was just a better time and place to facilitate the interview.
Now, the Rochelle Police Department, what county is that located in?
Here in Wilcox County.
Now, your office, Agent Shoudel, where is that located?
Our office?
Yes.
My office is located at 108 Woodlawn Drive in Perry, Georgia.
Now, does that region have a specific name associated with it, or region associated with it?
There's a number assigned to it. It's called Region 13.
Now, with regard to Region 13 and the GBI, do y'all primarily it's one of the, how many counties do y'all cover being the Region 13 office out of Perry?
The Region 13 office in Perry covers, I think it's 10 counties. It's Peach, Crawford, Bibb, Houston, Twiggs, Dooley, Wilcox, Ben Hill, Irwin, Turner.
So when you say that y'all cover those counties, how is it that the GBI comes into, say, help with the case in Wilcox County? How does that occur?
Just how we become involved in any case or this case?
Any case.
We are a request agency, so we have to be requested from an outside agency like a police department or a sheriff's department, the district attorney's office, the governor's office. We had a case, I'll just give an example. On Sunday, this past Sunday, we had a death investigation that we were contacted by the Rochelle Police Department. We came down with several agents and began working the investigation.
Okay. Now, with regard to Mr. Dukes, back to Mr. Dukes, in June the 16th of 2016, so you met with him here in Wilcox County?
Yes, sir.
And it was at the Rochelle Police Department?
Yes, sir.
Was Mr. Dukes under arrest at the time that you spoke with him on June the 16th of 2016?
He was not under arrest.
And as a result of that, did you read him any Miranda rights?
No.
Did you speak with Mr. Dukes on June the 16th of 2016 there at the Rochelle Police Department?
I did.
And the interview that you did with Mr. Dukes on June the 16th of 2016, was that recorded?
It was.
To show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 7, and ask if you'll look at that, please, sir. Sorry, I didn't change that number.
30. Sorry.
My fault. Showing you State's Exhibit number 30, Agent Shoudel, and ask if you'll look at that, please, sir.
Sure.
Are you familiar with State's Exhibit number 30?
I am.
And what is State's Exhibit number 30?
State's Exhibit number 30 is a Memorex CDR disc labeled Bo Dukes audio interview. Interview with Bo Dukes by Jason Shoudel, GBI 0614, -16. So.
Have you listened to State's Exhibit 30 being the interview you did with Bo Dukes on June the 16th of 2016 prior to coming to court today?
I did.
Is it a true and accurate recording of the interview that you did with Mr. Dukes here in Rochelle at the Wilcox Police Department?
It is.
Now, with regard to State's Exhibit number 30 being this interview, did you promise him anything to get to talk to you?
No, sir, I
Did
didn't.
you threaten him or coerce him in any way to speak with you on that day?
No, sir, I didn't.
Judge, this time I would tender State's Exhibit number 30.
Any objection?
No, sir.
All right, it's admitted.
Judge, I would ask to publish it for the yes, Your Honor.
Today's date is Thursday, June 6th, 23 a.m. Located at the Rochelle. Today's date is Thursday, June 16th, 2016. Time's probably 7:23 a.m. Located at the Rochelle PD. Interviewing Mr. Bo Dukes pursuant to the current investigation. And just like I said, you know, I'm the case agent that's involved in the terror case. And I'm going to ask you a couple questions that kind of go back to your past a bit. I know you were in the military.
That's right.
When you were in the military and during basic training, where did you go to basic training at?
Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Okay. And while you were in Fort Sill, did you go in the fall or did you go in the spring?
Fall, wintertime.
Did y'all have an exodus during that time?
Yes.
Did you bring anybody home with you?
Yes.
Do you remember who it was? Was it more than one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I think one of the guys was local already.
Oh, okay. So it was one guy, two guys, three guys came back with you?
I think it was 2.
And you said one of them was from locally already around here?
I think so. I can't remember where, though.
When you say local, what do you mean by that?
Somewhere here in South Georgia.
Okay. What about the other guy?
I can't remember where it was from.
And while y'all were here, I'm assuming that was Christmas and New Year's
Yeah.
time. I had a buddy that he did the same thing back in I guess it was 94, and he had the Exodus and
Yeah.
came home for Christmas and New Year's and all that kind of stuff. So, while y'all were, I guess the Exodus usually about, 2 weeks?
I think so.
So did they stay with you or with your folks or anything like that?
Yeah, one of the guys did. God, I can't remember this dude's name.
Would John McCullough be about right?
Could be.
Maybe from Texas?
It sounds about right.
Okay. Y'all rode around, showed them around. I mean, obviously you didn't stay at your folks' house the whole time. Y'all were out riding around, stuff like that.
Might have, yeah. I can't remember much about it.
The vehicles that your mom had at the time, do you remember what they were? Did you have like a convertible car?
Yeah, she might have still had her BMW then.
What color was it?
Black.
Did she also own a truck?
Yeah, it was my truck.
Okay. What kind of truck was it?
It was a white Ford F-150.
You don't have that truck anymore?
No.
You were from here, in that area down there. Were you living in Ocilla at the time, or were you living up here in Rochelle?
In Ocilla, I just moved back from Atlanta, actually. Right before I joined the Army at the time.
Was that like the first time you'd moved there, or y'all had family and had lived down there before and then moved to Atlanta and then back?
Yeah, sort of, something like that.
Okay. When did you move to go to Atlanta?
Early 06, I don't know. I really don't know for sure.
So moved to Atlanta in early 06, maybe, and then moved back.
Yeah, I moved back, stayed with my aunt right before I joined the Army.
So that would have been like, what, around October-ish?
Yeah, September, October, I think.
Okay. So you were around when Tara went missing initially?
Yeah.
Were you friends with anybody? I mean, I know the rumors fly. Were you friends with any of the folks that were, initially or dated Tara or anything? Did you know Tara?
She was my 11th grade teacher in a contemporary American history class. But no, beyond that, no.
So you're not friends with any of the other folks that, like Marcus Harper and
No.
any of them folks? You didn't know them at all? Okay. Let me ask you this. The cell phone number that you have now, is it the same number you've always had?
No.
I mean, you had a telephone number. Did you have a cell phone back then?
I think so.
Just not sure.
I couldn't.
I mean, I know it's a long time.
I couldn't tell you the number for anything.
Right. Okay. All right. I got a call recently from John, and he said, basically, that while he was here on Exodus with you, and he didn't mention anybody else coming, but he said while y'all were on Exodus, he said y'all were driving around, y'all were drinking, things that, 19-year-old, 18, 19-year-old kids do. And while you were riding around together, you made some comments about Tara. And he said you made some comments that, at the time he kind of dismissed as just, alcohol talking, yappy yap, but any reason why?
Hell no.
Would there have ever been any conversations like that?
Not that I recall. No.
All right. He was pretty animate that, you had made some comments regarding, like, burning a body and...
Hell no.
now you understand why I have to talk to you,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things that...
No. No. I remember it was in the news big and all, but no.
Well, but we have to ask the question.
I understand.
So you didn't help anybody,
No.
burn her body, get rid of her, or any of that good stuff?
No.
Like I said, it could have been just, it could have been alcohol talking. It could have been a misinterpretation of what he's thinking based on alcohol talking. I'm just curious as to why he would say that kind of stuff.
I don't know.
Or why you would say that kind of stuff.
The only thing I remember about him from Christmas Exodus was we went to a bar one night in Tifton, and he took my truck, and I didn't see him again for till the day we left. It was like a week later. He was messing with my truck the whole time. And I was supposed to go to the Sugar Bowl up in Atlanta with Georgia was playing somebody, I can't remember. And I didn't end up going because I didn't have my ride. I remember. I was pissed about that.
Okay. No other reasons why I would say anything?
No.
And you can't think of who this other person is by chance?
No.
Okay. I can always go back and get records pulled from then, but, okay. Okay. But no reason why he would say that at all?
No.
Okay. I'm certain, I don't know how much you know about this case, but we actually do have some DNA that we recovered from some evidence at her residence.
I'd be happy to.
And that's where do you mind if I go ahead and get a sample of your DNA?
Absolutely not.
And it'll take longer to do that than it will be to do the interview that we've done. I've got a little consent form, and makes it a lot easier. Actually, I'm going to do this for her. Yeah, we follow these kind of things out all the time. You'd be surprised.
Really?
Yeah. So, it's just one of those things that, we have to do.
I'm sure with media attention and all that, you guys get along.
Yeah, we do. This is the consent form. Basically, it just says that you have the right to refuse, and I'm getting your saliva. And then once we do this, we'll be done. But you see what I'm saying. That's what we have to follow out.
I get it.
It's just one of those things where you just kind of, you don't really get much of a choice. You've got to follow it out. I'm just kind of curious as to why
Me and you both.
he would say that. It's pretty animate. Yeah. Is it B.O. or
Yeah.
what's your middle name?
I don't have one.
Tell me your social real quick.
252-73-3857.
Give me your birthday.
6/20/84.
Basically, all these are just cheap cotton swabs on each side of your cheek on the inside for about 10 seconds on each side. Give me about 10 or 15 seconds to let them air dry for a second. And I'm going to stick them back in here, seal this all up. I just want you to stay here while I'm sealing it up.
Gotcha.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, like I said, I'm just real curious as to why. You know, it's been a long time. Why now? You know,
You still in the Army?
yeah. No, not in the Army anymore. He basically said that he hadn't seen you since graduation from boot camp.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, where did you end up going? What was your MOS?
92 Yankee.
Which
Supply
one?
sergeant.
Which was supply?
Supply sergeant, yeah.
Yeah.
Go to Korea. And then third ID.
Korea. Well, you weren't married, so you weren't.
I got married. I met my wife in Korea, ex-wife.
Korea, TDY.
That was fun.
Where were you stationed at there?
Thank you.
Charlie. Communications. Is there anything else you can think of? I mean, any reasoning? Like I said, going back, just thinking about it a little more. Any reason why he would even have any hint around that would be?
I mean, like I said, I can't remember a lot about it. The fact that
742.
Hey, Shoudel, toward the end of the recording here, you're asking Mr. Dukes for consent.
Yes, sir.
What are you asking him for consent for?
It's a waiver form that we have that says that we didn't have a search warrant to collect his DNA, so we're asking for his consent to obtain his DNA, which is what this form is. It lays out that he has the right to refuse that test, basically, or that collection of evidence at that time, which he didn't refuse. So we fill out that form together. Obviously, there on the form it says we're getting, what we're trying to get is saliva for DNA. I'll sign the form, he'll sign the form, or whoever we're talking to get that will sign the form. Once that is done, we'll move on with the collection of the sample.
Did Mr. Duke consent to you getting his DNA that day, June 16th of 2016?
He did.
And when you talk about getting consent to get saliva, what exactly do you do to take saliva or get saliva? What do you do?
Correct. And there's a packet. It's a DNA collection packet, a buccal swab kit. And inside the kit there's 2 cotton swabs inside of a sealed paper package. There's a cellophane plastic bag. There's a folding piece of paper inside that has an envelope. There are 2 red evidence seals and a kit seal that are sticky seals. And what we'll do is, and there's also a set of gloves. So I'll put on the gloves so as not to try to turn in a contaminated sample. I'll put the gloves on. There's some paperwork that I'll fill out either right before I put the gloves on that's associated with you have to put their name, their date of birth, their social security number. They view that information, they sign it saying that this is their correct information. Put the gloves on, open up the sealed packet with the 2 cotton swabs in it. I'll pull the cotton swabs out, 1 in each hand usually, and I'll swirl it around on each side of the mouth, 1 on the right side, 1 on the left side for about 10 seconds. Once that's done, I hold them for a second. I just kind of hold them in front of me and do like this because it's a wet sample, and I don't want to put that wet sample back into a piece of paper. So I air dry it for just a second and then slide it back into the same package that they came out of because it's a sterile package. Seal that, fold that back over. Obviously, we don't lick it closed or anything like that. I take that package and put it into the envelope. There's, like I said, that little fold out. There's an envelope. You put that in there, and you take the first of the red 2 evidence seals, and you put that on top of that, and you'll initial that it's sealed. Once you close that little folding piece of paper with the envelope, you'll slide that into the cellophane bag, which then goes inside of another piece of paper, like envelope, which you'll put that in there, you'll close it up, and you put the second red seal evidence tape. And then there's a manila envelope that the whole kit comes in that's got the kit seal that I'll also put the kit seal on top of. And then usually I'll put it into another manila envelope that's sealed with red evidence tape that actually goes to the crime lab.
Okay. And did you do that and seal Mr. Duke's buccal swab samples for DNA on that day?
I did.
And were those kept in your care, custody, and control until turned over to the GBI lab?
It was.
Did you do anything to change the nature of those samples that you collected?
No.
Now, with regard to the person that told you when you asked him about discussing with John McCulloch the death of Tara Grinstead or the destruction of her body, and he responded to you, hell no, is that person in the courtroom?
He is, sir.
And can you tell me what he's wearing, please?
Sure. He's wearing a dark-colored suit with a blue tie, sitting next to his attorney in the middle on the defense table.
I just noticed it was 5 too. Members of the jury, we're going to recess for the evening with these instructions, and that is that you're not to discuss the case with anyone. Don't allow anyone to discuss it in your presence, in your hearing, and don't discuss it among yourselves until I give you instructions to do so. Now, let me just add this. When you're going and coming from the jury room here in the courthouse, just be careful in speaking to different people that just so that you don't have the appearance of impropriety in talking to someone that you might not know will be a witness in the case. With those instructions, you're free to go and be back here in the morning in the jury room by 9 o'clock so that we can begin shortly after 9 as we can, okay? With those instructions, you're free to go.